Oh, start over.
To Toon World. Oh, now I
Do that again.
gotta say my Yu-Gi-Oh reference again.
Yes.
All right, welcome Kaiba to Toon World.
Yugi boy.
Yugi, little Yugi. What's poppin', world? It's your boy J Specs, and obviously I am here with my good friend, the one and only
Charles Barkley.
True. Look at CJ's head next time he does a webcam video. Okay, next time that face cam, he is black with a bald head.
I spent $8 million on gambling, but I don't have a gambling problem.
And I also call good players bad because my opinion matters. That's literally Charles Barkley in a nutshell. If you guys are on a Pokemon channel and have no idea what basketball is, that's fine. Because today we are here for the prediction panel, people. Uh, CJ, how you doing, friend?
I'm doing good. I'm about to go on a flight to Washington, D.C., so we're going to do this one in a jiffy, friends.
Yes, we're gonna breeze on through it. Now, people, as we say every time we record this, I know it's been a little hiatus just because CJ's been doing some business trips due to his work, and I've been going through a series of unfortunate events, to say the least. So it's just been hard to get this done. But the polls are usually in the you know the description of this video, and we're gonna go over those right now. With the first match being the Hulk Luchas versus the Broadway Blastoise. And these people, for lack of better terms, are not being shy with their predictions anymore, people. They are 100% one way. It is a one-way street with these predictions this late in the season, and I mean, honestly, when you play an entire season with league, you know, a whole roster of people, it kind of gets like that. You kind of can predict who's going to win or who you feel has the better matchup, stuff like that, and who's going to play better with Mons. So, I mean, I can understand that, but it is a 5-0 vote for the Hog Luchas over the Broadway Blastoise. How do you feel about that, CJ?
Yeah, so it's interesting because the Haluchas and the Blastoise actually have the same record. But I think that generally speaking, the Haluchas have shown to be just a little bit more like competitive. I think their roster has been put to better use than the Blastoise's roster. As far as matchup goes, as I say most of the times we do these videos, Mega Pinsir is probably the biggest threat. The Blastoise conveniently do have a couple of good counters to the big wall breakers on the Haluchas team. They have Rotom to counter Volcanion, and they have Venusaur to counter Sylveon. So it's going to be a pretty cool battle to see who can win. Is it going to be the offensive firepower of the Haluchas or the really excellent bulk of the Blastoise? I suppose most people are leaning towards the offense of the Haluchas in this poll here.
I mean, I do the same thing. I like offense more so than bulk because bulk feels too passive in my opinion. I've been talking to a few of my friends that tend to play on the more passive side, and I've been trying to tell them, look, you can't just have a game plan set that you're gonna sit there and get hit. You know, you gotta also apply pressure to your opponent. You can't just let them sit there and beat you up. This was a boxing match, and that happened. You literally get destroyed.
Yeah, and I don't mean to imply that the Blastoise don't have any offense, period. But if you look at the matchup, I think the Haluchas are obviously are obviously stronger on the offensive side.
Yeah. That's why. I mean, I wouldn't say I tend to draft balance, but I tend to I want to say bulky offense just because I tend to more so want to make sure that my offensive threats are literally offensive threats, and then I have the necessary mons that I can use to switch in to most of the things that I'm going to be playing against in the season. That's usually how I like to draft. I like having a decent defensive core, but it's not the primary factor of my team, you know? I want my offense to be the reason why they're like, oh my goodness, I got to play J-Specs this week. This man has this man has that. So, I mean, then again, everyone has their niches.
Definitely. All right, let's look at game two.
All right, game two, we have the Keldeos versus the Texas Nightmare. Boston Keldeos, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah. The Boston Kel... And another slacking, people. or to quote the young A Drive. Never mind, that word doesn't fit here. I will not quote A Drive, but I will quote him eventually because we're both from Connecticut. That's CT pride. But
Yeah.
yeah, everyone seems to go for the Boston Celtics over the Texas Nightmare, and I mean it could be, like I said in the first match, going through a long season, you can kind of tell who's necessarily going to win each matchup. And just to be completely honest, I mean the Texas Nightmare haven't had the best season this year.
Yeah, I think that's probably what this vote mostly comes down to, is just based on the historical record at this point. The Keldios having a better record than the Nightmare. What I'm really interested to see is, the Nightmare have a lot of really great offensive, like hyper-offensive threats with like Gengar, Hydreigon, Alakazam.
Yeah.
None of those match up particularly well against Umbreon. And then you also have Pokemon such as Melodic on the Keldios side that can be a big problem for things like Flygon, Mega Steelix. So if the Nightmare can figure out a way to wall break in this game, they'll have a chance. But otherwise, I'm gonna agree with the poll and say that the Keldios are favored.
Funny, and people watching this video, players, people that want to get in the league farm and all that. Again, don't take anything we say personal. Again, we're just going over statistics that are right in front of our faces. But let's rewind a few weeks ago and remember the fact that the Boston Celtics were at the top of like the rankings a bunch of times. If I'm not, I mean, at least on the spreadsheet, they had the best stats for a little while, and then over the course of a long season, things tend to change. So it's just like don't let anything get you down. Just continue to play the game you know how to play, and you can turn things around.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, the next matchup is the guy who stole my mascot, my team mascot, versus the Chicago Flock. Now, this one isn't as one-sided, and a person who has the Hamden, what is his name? I don't really know his name. Is it Elias?
Yeah, Elias or Elias. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's Elias. But
I'm gonna call you E-Money, bro, and I'm gonna do that in the UBC chat just because I don't know how to pronounce your name and I don't like butchering people's names. But no hard feelings against you, bro. I'm joking around. I have you've came in and you've surprised me a few times with some of the battles you've come in and win out of nowhere, because even though we didn't necessarily know your skill, but it's still refreshing to see someone coming out of nowhere and be able to actually be a threat.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, but so even though, like we said, it's not as one-sided, it is still a one-sided vote, with it going 4-1 in favor of E-Money. The Chicago Flock, which has the best team name of all time. Now I can include A Drive, seeming to be on a little bit of a schneid.
Yeah, the Flock have they had a really sick tear with Slurpuff to start the season, but everyone kind of learned the tricks that he likes to pull with Slurpuff and just with his team in general. His team is very setup oriented, and he's made it work a few times. I'm not as optimistic that he's going to continue to make it work. But we'll see. I mean, the Hydreigons do have a couple of good counters to the really threatening Mons. Kyurem's a really good counter to Thundurus. Suicune can kind of counter Volcarona, depending upon how especially defensive it is. Slurpuff can be countered by Weezing. So I think the Flock are going to have to just figure out a way to get into a good position. Maybe they can force some sort of misplay. They can set up and sweep, but I think that the Hydreigons have enough defensive answers. And they're certainly not lacking in firepower of their own, and the Flock don't exactly have many walls. So it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, it's just funny how big of a tear that freaking Slurpuff was going on in the beginning of the season. And the fact that everybody was actually able to, prep for it and take care of it. It's just funny that even though he brought so much attention to it and knew people were going to prep for it, that he still tried to make it a threat. Again, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, I guess. But in a situation where you're basically centralizing your game plan around trying to bring that thing in and sweep, it's easy to work around. But then again, Marcos is a friend and a horse, but a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the next match we have the Celadon City Celebies versus the Lux Rays, whose city I don't know who you're from, but it's all right because this is another shellacking as far as the votes go, and it's pretty much in the same. It's all about record. The Celebies have had pretty unfortunate season, to say the least. I mean, I'm pretty sure they haven't picked up a win yet. They were because they're new to the format and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
I think the Celebies, like, I still think they have a decent team. If they could pick up a good steel type, I think that they would like greatly improve. That's just my opinion. Based on like, you know, the records, I think, yeah, is the main reason for this poll. Based on matchup, I still think the Lux Rays are favored. Mega God of War is a huge problem for the Celebies team. The best answer that they have for it is Tentacruel, which obviously gets obliterated by Psyshock. So I guess Moltres could also be a potential answer, but that thing also gets wrecked by Psyshock. So
Moltres is bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to say that it's bad. I just don't think it's a God of War counter.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that there is. It's pretty much all that there is to say about this matchup. Like, I mean, the Lux Rays have plenty of threats, but really they just need to protect a Gardevoir, bring it in on Pokemon like Hitmontop or Cresselia or even Clefable, and also Mega Sableye. If you can get it in for free on that, like, you know, use something like U-Turn Infernape or Volt Switch Magneton, and it should be picking up kills all day.
Or even if it wants to, you know, switch into Will-O-Wisping Mega Sableye. I mean, you trace that Magic Bounce, pop that right back, and then boom, you got yourself a free Mega Evo.
Yeah, and you got pretty much a free kill.
Yeah, because not too many things like to switch into Mega Guard. I know that personally. Now we go to another match. The next match being the Kansas City Bees Knees versus the Scizor. And a tale of two matches. We have a very one-sided poll with Adam, who's one of the top players in the league, being pretty much, you know, decided on as the winner of this one. Primarily from the fact that everyone knows he's a really good player and he has a very good record.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has the record compared to the Scizors, but I'm not ready to call this match so one-sided. And that's more of a testament to the Seattle Scizors than it is to, you know, anything against the Kakunas. Manaphy has kind of been the all-star for the Kakunas this season. I don't think it has an incredible matchup here, just because there's a lot of Pokemon that can outspeed it and revenge it. Manaphy's really good against like balanced teams. But you know, the nice thing about Adam's team is that he can really back up his Manaphy with a really bulky team. And the Scizors do have a couple of wall breakers to potentially feast upon that. Like Staraptor and Latios, I think, are going to be two potential all-stars here. So yeah, it's just going to be, I think that's going to be the main battle. It's not going to be so much about the Manaphy. It's going to be, can the Scizors wall break and then set up for a sweep with something like Swords Dance or Nasty Plot Lucario. I think that's more of what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, and Coach of the Scizors, my friend, don't take that as me, you know, trying to down you as far as beating Adam. I mean, if somebody beats the Bee's Knees, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, I really hope that Drew can pull it off, just because I you know.
Oh wait, that's Drew. Yeah,
it is
Drew's
Drew.
See, look at.
Yeah, nothing against Adam, but I need to pull back into this race. I'm one game behind him right now, so.
You know, it's kind of funny how, you know, that little 3 or 4. Actually, I can't even say 3 or 4. From the 3rd on the standings all the way to like what, the 10th? No, not the 10th, the 9th. Are all one game separating. Basically.
Yeah, it's a very competitive season right now. It's very exciting.
Makes for very interesting matches and very, very, you know, needy. Well, not needy. Oh my goodness, not desperate. I can't think of the word. You know what? Forget the word. Just the word.
Yeah.
But it just makes for a situation where people have to win, and that's when the best comes out of everybody.
Definitely.
All right, and now we go to our final match, being the Washington Talonflames.
You skipped one, by the way, but we'll get to that in a second.
I did?
Yeah.
Which one?
You skipped my match.
Oh, where are you?
I'm like at number 3, but that's okay. We'll stick with this one. This one's. Let's end with the best. How about that?
All right, we shall. Well, we have the Washington Smogon Birds versus the Shinryu Pikachus, and I for one want to go out of the way and say shout out to my boy Johan. He's really been working hard trying to improve. He's been hitting me up asking me about some things, and I've been able to give him necessary tidbits to, not necessarily give him answers on what to do, but just, pointing him in the right direction on how and what exactly he has to look at to improve. And I mean, between the PMC and this right here, he went from somebody with no wins to, I believe he has 2 wins so far. So, I mean, the improvement is obviously being shown. He's starting to know when to switch out. He's not staying in on stuff that he shouldn't stay in on. And, I mean, he's getting a little bit better with his predictions.
Yeah, it's worth saying, too, that Johan scored a pretty big upset last week, taking out Immortal Ments and the Hog Haluchas, getting a 3-0.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, it's really, like you said, he's putting in some hard work, and he's really improving, taking out a very talented player in Immortal Ments.
Yeah, that's a very good testament to just how hard he is working. And to quote A-Drive again, oh my lord, don't call me on Skype, people. Spencer's kind of on a little bit of a schneid.
Yeah, we'll have to see if this one ends up taking place. Spencer has been MIA a little bit in when it comes to completing these battles, but I don't think that it's fair to consider that when looking at this poll. I think you just look at matchup. And, the Talonflames have some good mons to counter the Pikachu's threats. Like Mega Aggron can potentially tank 1 hit from Mega Charizard, I guess. And Garchomp is pretty good for Excadrill and Talonflame. So we'll have to see. I think that's like the main reason why it's as close as it is because Spencer does have some defensive options potentially, but just not a lot. And yeah, Johan, with the improvement that is showing, he's begun to collect some votes here.
Indeed. All right, so Johan, man, keep it up, bro. Keep on. Stay in the lab. Stay in the lab.
Yeah.
Improvement, just being able to know when you're improving and people being able to notice it is one of the most, rewarding feelings as far as stuff like this. Yeah, just keep at it, bruh. You got this. Now we will go over the final match that I skipped because it hid for me. And that is the Miendoge versus the one and only Choice CJ.
Yeah, so I'm really nervous.
Shout outs to this poll, by the way, because they are not voting for you at all.
Yeah, this is like the first time that's happened all season.
You didn't get even a single vote.
Even when I played Adam, I at least got a few.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's always hard to talk about your own matchup. The thing that's really fascinating for me here is that Jack doesn't have great normal resists, like on paper. His only one is Scizor, but he has a lot of bulk. And so I can't just come in with Lopunny and spam return. That's not going to work. I have to wear him down first. And that's easier said than done when Jack has Pokemon like Arcanine and Vileplume and Seismitoad that can all like take a couple of hits from Lopunny. So I'm really nervous, and yeah, that's all that I have to say. I don't know if you have anything to say.
I mean, like we were talking about, Jack is the Peyton Manning of regular season play. This man goes out and wins every game he needs to win, but then JK, I'm not going to say he chokes in the playoffs, but he just hasn't been able to, win the championship yet.
Yeah, so but one day, maybe this season is his season.
Yeah, maybe this season is his season, because if you guys remember last season, he was on a tear, ripping it up, and then he ended up losing to Adam going forward, but then he faced Adam and 6-0'd Adam. So
yeah, this season, so yeah, there's some revenge there.
Yeah, there's some revenge, and not to mention his differential is absolutely ridiculous right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, all right, people. So make sure to let us know how you feel about these polls, and make sure to vote for the next polls that will be in the description of this video. I'm excited to see these matches get done.
Yeah, absolutely. They should all be going up later today. You guys should check them out. And make sure you go and sub to all of our coaches so you can keep up to date on all the latest and greatest battles.
Indeed, as I hear giggling all the way at the bottom of my house. All right.
I guess that's the cue to call it a G day, isn't it?
G Day, people. Sharpino here.
Oh, all right. Good times.
All right, people. We out of here.
All right. See ya.